Ever watched a movie and wondered how you could be involved in the process of making it? We'll be talking today about a program which offers teens this opportunity to hone their storytelling skills and learn how to make their own films. We have with us today the co-founders of this program, Benjamin Patton and Scott Kinnamon. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So, can you tell me, what is Fred?
Well, Fred is, as you said, it's a workshop that Scott and I created last summer, and it gives teens an opportunity to come to a natural setting, which happens to be Green Meadows Farm, and right here in South Hamilton, Massachusetts, which my family happens to own, and learn how to tell stories, how to develop the tools to tell their own stories, really, through the media of video and film.
And why the name Fred?
Fred is a little like Ask Jeeves. Who is Jeeves? No, Jeeves is an emblem. Fred is an emblem. Every workshop, every organization begins to develop its own personality. We've decided to name that personality, name that persona, and it's Fred. And over the next couple of years, as Fred continues to grow and evolve with the student filmmakers, we'll begin to develop that personality, who exactly Fred is, so that before long, when people say Fred, people know exactly who Fred is. Fred is now a toddler and growing into his own, but before long, everybody will say, oh, I'm hanging with Fred this summer, and everyone will know that's the teen workshop.
So can you tell us a little about yourselves and how you collaborated to create Fred?
Sure. I'm a filmmaker in Denver, Colorado, and I have an organization called Educational Media Organization, or EMO, whose mission is using film video as a way to work with teens. So I work with a lot of schools and organizations in Denver. Been doing that for a number of years, and a couple of years ago, through a mutual friend, Ben and I were introduced. He had been looking for an opportunity to do something like that, and his family had Green Meadow Farms, and we decided it was the perfect setting for a summer teen workshop.
And I've been down in New York City for about the last decade, working primarily for PBS, doing various specials for them in production. And as I said, we came up here and we looked at it and we saw, this was our field classroom. We looked out in the back fields of the farm down the street from here, and Fred was born.
Wow. So what kind of things do you think teens will be learning or taking away from the experience they have at Fred?
One of the keys to this workshop is our focus is on story rather than technology. We're deep into using the technology as a tool, but the essence is story. I always tell people that the camera is to our workshop what a pencil is to algebra class. It's a tool, but it's not the content. The content comes from our lives and our experiences. And so we want to, number one, get kids deeper into understanding what film is. What is this powerful experience that we pay $9 and spend 2 hours sitting in the dark to do fairly regularly? What is the power that causes us to do that? So they become critical consumers of film, and they begin to understand the theory, and then they get the opportunity to actually make film, and that is a narrative skill. There's project management skill, time management, collaborative skills. There's a lot of opportunity for kids to get deep into a process that's very valuable on a lot of different levels.
And I would add to that to say that, I mean, a key part of the fact that it's story is that it's their stories as well. Sort of as Scott kind of said, we're not putting something on their plate that they have to then produce. What we're trying to draw out of them the stories that are most important to them, and it's quite fascinating, really, to experience that both for them and for us, seeing what kinds of stories come out of these teenagers, and they're incredibly compelling, as you'll see later in the program.
I'd say that I'm a better filmmaker for having worked with teens. You guys have fresh eyes. We're kind of old and jaded now. You guys have fresh eyes and a fresh experience. To be 16, 17 in 2007 is different than what it was to be there in the 70s like we were. And so you have a whole different set of experience, a whole different relationship to technology, a whole different relationship to storytelling. And I think that's very important that be brought out and nurtured and honored.
So is Fred only for teens who are interested in a career in filmmaking?
Not at all. Fred is for any teen who wants to have a really fun, deep, powerful experience for 2 weeks this summer. Some of these kids will get very deep into it and go into film, and many will go off into whatever direction they go off, but the skills and the experience we hope will resonate throughout whatever they do. Storytelling and the construction of narrative is a central skill for all of our lives, in the workplace, in our personal lives, in understanding our own personal narrative. And that's what we hope kids will take out of it.
And there's there are all these ancillary benefits as well, just in being able to work in groups. That's certainly an element of this, is the group dynamic. The responsibility of taking care of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And really all that go along with these skills are also a confidence. You know, you develop a confidence in yourself, whether you're on camera or behind the camera or post-production. And all these things apply to someone, whether they're going into film or going to become an architect.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about this summer's workshop. When is it and what do you have planned?
Well, let's see, the dates, I think you'll be showing them up on the screen. This year we're going to have a 2-week program. It starts on July 16th through the 27th. It's a day program, Monday through Friday, and we're going to have 24 kids. We've about doubled the size from last year, basically because last year was so successful. And we're going to have 4 instructors and a bunch of equipment. And maybe Scott, you can talk a little bit about some of the ideas we have.
Yeah, well, we're going to. It takes place from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day, and it's going to be partially at Green Meadows Farm and partially at the Hamilton Wenham Community House here. It will culminate on the 27th with the big community premiere of the films. We'll spend the first couple of days doing theory and watching and talking and thinking about film. And then there'll be a number of film exercises where we get deep, and then teens will break up into smaller groups and begin to go actually into production on their movie. We're also looking at an opportunity for some of the more advanced and returning teens who have some real skills now. We're working in the community to get a video commissioned that an organization actually pays us to make a film for them and get those kids involved in actually making that professional production and delivering that.
Wow. So how can kids sign up for the workshop?
Well, we have a number of ways. Although the program is here in Massachusetts, there's a number in my office, 212-876-2528. There's also an email address, which is fredsfilms@mac.com. And then we're setting up a website, which will be up in about the beginning of April, which is www.fredsfilms.com. So there are a number of ways. We do have spaces available, and we'd love to have folks from the local community sign up and bring their friends. Mm-hmm.
So what's the future of Fred? Do you hope to expand the program?
Absolutely. Scott?
We do. We hope that Fred, like all new parents, we hope that Fred will grow strong and deep. We would love to, we love our base here in Hamilton Wenham. We think that's a great thing. We would also look to bring kids from other areas, either from farther in the metro area or perhaps internationally. There may be opportunities to do Fred in the West or in Europe, so we're looking for these. We also would like to get Fred deeper into places like this station and have some content development relationships with this channel or with local businesses. You know, I'd love to see the local teen production company, sponsored by Fred.
Great, that sounds fabulous. So now we have 2 films that were made by past Fred students that we can show to you. They're called An Eye for an Eye and Infolink. Do you think you could tell us a little bit about the films and set them up?
Sure. Eye for an Eye is a very interesting film. It's very impressionistic. The story is less linear and literal and more impressionistic, more moody. And it's essentially about a blind witch doctor who, to regain his sight, must give an amulet to an unsuspecting person who will then take his blindness and the witch doctor will get their sight. And it's a little creepy and moody and very imaginative in its visual sensibility.
And what's interesting about that film too is that, as Scott said, it sort of comes really out of the work we did in theory and the various exercises we did, because we showed a number of films which really focused on camera angles and light and dark, and this was an example of somebody really taking that to heart and drawing it out in their film. And then we have InfoLink, or Mind Control. It has kind of a combination title there, both of which are relevant. It's kind of, how would you describe it, kind of a Big Brother scenario?
Very much. A young farm kid who's become very interested in technology has a chip implanted in his brain that gives him full internet access, etc., in his eyes. And there's these amazing scenes of him walking down the street with the screens appearing in his vision. But unfortunately, his chip is hacked into by corporate America, and they begin to control him. You'll see the consequences therein.
Wow, those both sound really intriguing. So let's take a look.
subject is ready, I suggest that we now move into the next phase of the operation.
Are there any drinks?
You can get yourself some water.
Don't give the attitude.
So how was your day?
It was fine. It was fine. I chopped more wood and I used the tractor and brought it over to the west field. Lots of work as usual.
It's good. You're becoming a farmer, son.
They own this farm.
It'll be
Good.
yours. We want you to know just what to do when that day comes.
Sell it.
Sell it.
Jim, this has been in our family for centuries.
The technology won't grow the food. It's been good enough for several centuries, and it'll be good enough for a couple more centuries.
So, I've been thinking maybe I can start working in town. My friend from school, he said he could get me a job at his dad's work.
You know we need you on the farm here.
You have like 30 people working.
But we don't. We need someone from the family making sure they do it all right. It's our family farm.
Can I be excused?
All right.
Tuck in your chair. George, I'm worried about Jim. I found another one of those technology magazines in his room.
This is the third one this week. I am really getting upset about this. I mean, it's all he cares about. He doesn't seem to care about the farm anymore.
He doesn't care at all. I took 3 away from him, and he just keeps buying more. He knows we disapprove.
And now he wants to get that chip in his head. All that going on in his head, the music and the information, it'll distract him from his work here.
He's just turned into such a selfish boy. I didn't know I raised such a selfish boy.
Damn it, the farm is at stake here. 4 generations has been in our family, and my only heir cares only about technology. And I will be damned if I'll let him be taken over by technology. He is a farmer.
That's good. Hello, I'm Dr. Stent.
Jim.
How are you? So I understand you're here for the info link procedure.
Yep.
Well, then let's get started. First, let me have a look at you. Let's have a look at you. All right. So, Jim, you have the info link software on you? Looks good. Alrighty. Let's have a look here.
Sure those are safe, Doctor?
Oh yeah, this has done this 100 times. So, Jim, what seems to be the problem?
Well, I've been tripping and falling over. My motor skills are off a little bit. I'm twitching. You see that? And my, everything's going wrong. I crashed my car. Even I don't know. I feel like there might be something wrong with the info link, maybe.
Well, I've seen this from time to time. I doubt it's anything serious. Why don't you just keep an eye on it for a couple of weeks and then come back and see me? As you can see, gentlemen, the info link is causing the test subject to buy our products without question, though minor errors still do exist.
Yo.
I believe we should remove the device within the next 48 hours and move on to stage 3.
Why?
The experiment was a success. Within weeks, our plan for global economic domination will be complete.
So we're back. I'm your host, Sophie Plitt, and I'm here talking to Benjamin Patton and Scott Kinnamon about their summer program, FRED, which is a workshop for teens who want to get involved in the filmmaking experience. So we just watched 2 of those student films, and I'm wondering, what were some of the processes and procedures that students went through when making those films?
Let's start.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, we first start by trying to get a sense of what films and what kinds of films matter and are compelling to the teens in the program. We spend a bit of time on that, trying to find out what their likes and dislikes are, what kind of films they like. We show them key scenes, which I think demonstrate important filmmaking techniques from classic films. And we also do something which I personally have found really rewarding for me, and a number of the students enjoyed it, are these a number of exercises, where we give kids a limited amount of, these students a limited amount of time to go out and do a quick field shoot to achieve a certain objective and come back, and then we show the films, talk about them. And from there, we give them a few more tools, technical and otherwise, teach them to storyboard, again, how to create a beginning, middle, and end to a narrative, and send them on their way wherever they want to go to make their films. And there's much more to it than that, but those are sort of the key elements. Scott?
The key is there's all this procedural stuff. There's scripting and storyboarding and shooting and editing, production, all that stuff. But the other piece is getting the kids to understand that they have something to say and that they have a story to tell, that they're uniquely qualified to tell, and really validating that everybody has something they need to say in the world, and that this is an opportunity for them to do so. And I think that's one of the central tenets of this camp is helping kids to find their voice. And one of the things that's interesting from a teaching standpoint is to know when to jump in and when to back out. In the beginning, we're really trying to light a spark and get kids interested. Then there's a moment in which they get really into it and just take off. And at that point, our job is more like being the banks of a river. Their job is to flow, and we just sort of keep it from flooding and dissipating, and just sort of keep it in a direction. And film video is this generation's world. This is where they live. This is their medium in a way that it hasn't been for any generation prior. My generation was all about watching, but this generation is all about production. They own it. They get to make it. They get to create it. Things like YouTube and MySpace and the accessibility of the equipment has made a whole revolution in terms of people's understanding that they can create content. And so we want to honor that kids and say, this is your medium, go deep.
And we found, they go in their own direction, both geographically, but also, and in terms of the story, but also in terms of the various media that are at work. For instance, we had one student who was one of the producers of the film. What was the name of it? An Eye for an Eye. And in his film, one of the things he did is he composed the score. He had brought a keyboard in there, a MIDI keyboard, plugged it into our Final Cut Pro system, and began to just compose. So they, as I said, there's this moment where they just begin to follow their own path, and we just step back and watch and just make sure that we keep them in the river. Mm-hmm. And it's quite a thing to see.
All the music that you'll see on the films, that you saw on the films, was composed during the workshop by kids using either GarageBand or Soundtrack software, using loops. So the ideas are there, the stories are there. They shot, they directed, they edited, they scored. So this is really their work, and then they have an opportunity to show that. At the premiere that we have at the community house, 100 people came, and we had a big gala. But then they also, on channels like this, we've just showed films. All these kids now can say, hey, my film was on TV last night. And that's a powerful sense of ownership, and they get to not only create content, but then see their content out there for other people to see.
And what effect do you think that has on teens?
One of the things that I hope, first and foremost, is that kids feel that their voice is valid, that they have a voice, they have something to say in the world, and that they should say it. That not only do they need to say it, we need to hear it. And I'm all about kids standing up and being heard. And I hope that they get the opportunity and the understanding of how to work with technology, to tell stories, how to work collaboratively, et cetera.
You know, there's an interesting thing that came up early in our workshop last year, which is where we were going through and talking about some of the students' favorite films, and we would make a careful distinction or a directive, if you will, and say, tell us. You can say that you like or dislike a film, but if you say if something is good or bad, then you have to defend it. And if you say that's a lousy film, well, then you've got to defend it. Nobody can question your vision if I like this or dislike that. But when you start to place a judgment on it, we make them defend it, and that's kind of interesting.
I think it's very important because we want to create an environment where people are feel safe to have whatever opinion they want, and we all get to like whatever we want. Like doesn't equal good necessarily, and that's an important distinction. If somebody says something's good or bad, including us, we need to be prepared to tell our criteria that we made that distinction. But there's plenty of bad things I like. I love early 60s beach movies. Are they good? No, they're terrible. I love them. That's an important distinction. And that's about creating an environment where kids feel really safe to be expressive and to really show who they are and what their vision is.
It sounds like kids are really getting a lot out of this.
We hope so.
Yeah. So, Scott, I know that you worked in the past as an educator in Denver. What kind of educational aspects do you try to bring to the workshop, and how do you keep it fun?
There's a number of ways to keep it fun. Making films was a fun thing. It's also a lot of work, but it's a fun thing. We also try to keep the mood light. One of my strategies as an educator is not that I know it all and they know it little, and my job is to impart information, but it's for us to explore together. I also keep a large catalog of very bad jokes that will lighten the mood. But in terms of what they learn, there's some real tangible skills, project management skills, collaboration skills, technical skills, and most importantly, I think, narrative skills. When I teach I teach a lot of inner city kids in Denver, and what I always tell people is it's sort of a sneaky literacy program. They come in excited to make films, but they leave knowing about the construction of narrative, and that is a skill that's transferable in a number of places, whether they become lawyers, architects, plumbers. It doesn't matter. The ability to construct narrative is critical.
There's something I want to add to that, just both from my experience in the workshop, but also with Scott, is that there are sometimes these wow moments that both we have as instructors and they have as students, where, for instance, a film might be ostensibly about map making or something like that, or geography, and there's a point at which we as the instructors realize that, gosh, it's not. There's a subtext there, and we do talk about that, and it's not necessarily about what it seems. And then the greater epiphantic moment, if you will, is when the student realizes that the film isn't necessarily about what they set out to make it about. It's got some other meaning underneath it, as you'll see probably in all the films, virtually all the films that we have. You'll pick up a subcurrent that is.
Well, we're always, as humans, there's always what we're talking about here and what we're meaning, and our hope is that the films operate on both levels. The teens are bringing subtext in as well, and I think that's an important realm to understand and to work at. And it's important to say that we get a ton out of this experience too. I think it's a really truly a dialogue. We get the epiphanies. There are moments where there are ecstatic moments where I feel like somebody's just enlightened me to something. There's moments where I feel like together we've discovered something. I mean, it's a very powerful experience.
Wow, it sounds like it would be a very valuable experience for anyone that was interested. And if you would like to get involved, you can call the number on the bottom of the screen and get in touch with Fred's Film Workshop. So thanks for watching. Bye.